What's up everybody, Aditya Mahajan here and welcome back to yet another YouTube video. In today's video, we'll be solving another lead code question number 34, also called as find first and last position of elements in sorted array. It has also been asked in day 29 of a pre-lead code challenge, so let's get started. Given an array of integers, nums sorted in ascending order, find the starting and ending position of given target value. If target is not found in the array, return -1, -1. Could you write an algorithm with O of log and runtime complexity? Okay, so what they have said is we are having an vector or an array in which there are numbers given in ascending order. Okay, and we are also given a target and we need to find the first and the last index where that particular number is present. Okay, so we are also asked if we can do it in log and runtime complexity. Some of the constraints are all the total numbers that are available in the vector is of order 10 to the power 5. Maximum value of every element is of order 10 to the power 9, and it is a non-decreasing array. So let us look at a few examples to understand the problem statement better. So these are the some of the examples that we are given. First, we have a vector of nums having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 elements, and the target is 8. Okay, so basically we have two 8s, that is this and this. So this would be the first index and this would be the second index of the vector that we need to return, which is 0, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, 3 and 4. So we need to return a vector with values 3 and 4. Similarly, in this nums, that is the same vector, but our target is 6. So we do not have 6 anywhere in here, so we return -1, -1. And even if the vector is empty, we all in that case too we return -1, -1. Now let us look at few approaches how we can solve this problem. So the first approach that we'll be looking about this problem statement is with the help of STL function, and that is lower bound and upper bound. So what basically lower bound says is if you call this function for a particular vector, then it returns an iterator pointing to the first element in the given range. Okay, so basically if you give this particular vector to lower bound and you say this is our target, in that case it would return an iterator pointing to this 8. Okay, now what does the upper bound do? It returns an iterator pointing to the first element in the range which compares greater than the value. Okay, so if you do the same thing, that is for the upper bound, if you pass this vector and give the target as 8, in that case it would return to you this particular index, that is iterator pointing to 10. So in that case we just decrement that iterator's index and then add it to a vector and return it. So basically in this approach what we'll do is we will initially take answer vector in which we need to pass two vectors. We first find if the target is present in our nums vector. If it is not present, we just return the answer vector having -1, both the values -1. And if it is present, we call the two functions lower bound and upper bound, and then decrement the upper bound and then pass the answer vector. That's it. Now let us look at the implementation, how we can implement it. So this is the code for our first approach with the help of upper and lower bound STL functions. We basically create an answer vector which would basically contain just two values, that is start and the end. We create an iterator it to check if even the target is already present in the nums vector. So find takes two parameters, that is nums.begin and nums.end, along with the target that we need to find. If it is end, that means that we have not found the target value and we just add -1 two times into the answer vector and return the answer. Okay, so if we do not go into this if condition, that means that we are having that target in our nums vector. So what we basically do, we create two iterators, lower and upper, for that particular vector and call the lower bound and upper bound function. So the parameters of lower bound are starting and ending index and then the target which we need to search. So we will get the lower iterator and the upper iterator. The parameters for these two functions are exactly the same, and afterwards, as we just saw that upper bound returns 1 greater than the index that we require, so we just do -1. So we do lower minus nums.begin, which gives us the index of the start of that particular target value, and upper minus nums.begin and -1, and then we just return the answer. So that is the first approach. Now let us look at the second approach, because we cannot use STL function in the actual interviews. Okay, for the second approach, we'll just do a simple linear search, and I think this you can call as a brute force solution. because the runtime complexity for this is O of n. We need to traverse the complete vector that we are given. So basically in this approach, what we'll be doing is we'll iterating through each vector. What am I saying? Not each vector, each element of the vector. And whenever we find the target, we just add it to our start variable. Okay. So if we have found 8 at this position, so it would be 0, 1, 2, and third index. So we will update the start index. And we go on moving further until we have the target. And then after that, when we reach any particular index where we do not have our target, we just update the end variable with the index that we are current index -1 that we are currently on, because we are currently on this index, right? So we'll just do 4 and we just return this particular vector along with these two parameters. Now let us look at how we can implement it. This is the code for the second approach that we have just saw. So in this we are creating two variables, first and last, and initializing it to -1, because if we do not update them, then we just do not have to change anything. Then after that we are iterating through the nums vector that we are given, that is 0 to nums.size, and we are doing an initial check if we find at any particular index, if we find the target. So if we find the target, then we have two cases, that is we are encountering target at very first time or it is afterwards. Okay, so if you are encountering the target very first time, in that case we need to update the both first and the last. So we are doing the same thing, then that is if the first is -1, we are updating first and last, and if we are not encountering it the first time, we are just updating the last, so that we make the second pointer that we have to its correct index. When we exit out of this for loop, we are having first and last pointing to its correct positions. Even if we do not have target in the vector that we have, then these two would be pointing to -1 and -1. That is what we have to return. So we just push back first and last into our answer vector and just return answer. So that is the approach for the second solution. Now let us look at what is the most optimized solution that we have. For the third approach, we'll be using binary search as our algorithm. And for binary search, the prerequisite is that whatever the vector or array that we are using, it should be in sorted order. Okay, and that is the condition that we are given. So in binary search, what we basically do, we create two pointers, that is start and end, and we calculate the mid of that particular two pointers. And after that mid is calculated, we compare that mid's value with the target value. Okay, so if we find the target to be greater than the mid, then we check on the second half of that vector and we just neglect the first half. And if the target is less than the mid, we check the first half of the vector and neglect the second half. And we go on proceeding further in the similar fashion. And once we get the target, the only thing that remains to do is, after we get the target, for example, if we are at the mid at this position, we need to look on the left and on to the right. Okay, and go until when we have the target at that particular index. Okay, so that we find the left and the right index, which is the starting and the ending point of the target that we have, and after that we just return that particular two indices. Okay, so that is the third approach. Now let us look at how we can implement it. So this is this code for the third approach. It might look a bit dangerous to see, but stay with me. You will get it everything. Okay. So for now, let us see that what we are basically doing here is we are creating left and right indices for iterating and doing the binary search. Okay, and then we are creating the start and end variable which we need to return. Okay, so basically first we are creating the answer vector, which in which we'll add our start and end after getting the indices proper. Okay, so this is the basic binary search that we are doing. We are checking if left is less than right. We are iterating, I mean we are continuing the loop until the left is less than or equal to right. And in every iteration we are calculating the mid, that is left plus right minus left by 2. This is basically to be cautious about the overflow that we have in the int data type. Okay, and after that what we are doing is we are doing one thing. If we find the target, we'll just go into that, but we'll look at the other cases. If we do not find the mid, if our target is greater than the mid, we increment the left to mid plus 1, and if our target is less than the mid, in that case we do right as equal to mid minus 1. That is to change the right and the left pointer so that we go to the first or the second half based on the whatever the conditions that we are getting. Okay, so if now let us look at if we find the target at any particular index, what we are doing. we are storing that mid index, okay, for temporarily, and we are moving forward, that is we are incrementing or decrementing the mid, that is we are on the mid and we need to move to the left. Okay, so we are just decrementing the mid unless and until we are getting the target. Okay, once we do not find the target, we break out of this for loop, and that would be the first index where we are finding the target value. So okay, so we are just storing it into the start. Now after the we have stored the temp, that is we are again in the mid, and we need to move to the right side, that is to find the end index. Okay, so this is the same thing that we are doing. We are just checking if that index plus 1 is equal to the target, and we are doing this until it is less than the size of the vector. We do not have to go out of the vector, right? So we are incrementing the temp, and once we exit out of this while loop, we are having the index at which there is the last target value present, and we are saving it into the end. And after that, once we are having the start and the end completed after moving to the left and the right, so that we get the first and the last index, we are just pushing it back to the answer and returning answer. Okay, that's as simple as that. So this would be the case whenever we find the target is present in the vector. If the target is not present in the vector, we are just pushing back -1 into the answer and just returning the answer. Okay, so that's the third approach. Now let us try to run the code and see if it works. Okay, now let us just submit it. Yeah, and we are getting faster than 4 millisecond and faster than 96.02% of C++ submission, and memory usage is 13.5 MB, less than 96% of C++ submission. So that's all for this video, guys. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up button. If you have codes in other languages, comment below, or if you have some doubt, and join the Discord server and subscribe to the channel if you need more such LeetCode questions and content. And see you in the next one. Bye bye.